You're listening to Campus Chatter, coming to you from the campus of the University of Central Missouri, only on the UCM Media Network.
What's up, everybody? I'm Rickey Rivera. You're listening to Campus Chatter. Sorry we had a week off. We had some technical difficulties last week and some personal schedule problems, so we're right back at it today. I mean, this is your show for everything NBA, NFL, college athletics, especially our favorite, Mules and Jennies.
Today is April 18th, 2016. I'm Tremayne Fisher. It's a good show as always. We're going to start off talking about the NBA and Kobe's final game in Staples Center, final game of his career, how he did in that. And then talk about NBA playoffs. It's kicked off day 1 and day 2 in the books. Day 3 will be tonight, so just kind of give a little insight what we think about the playoffs so far. Look at the MLB, 2 weeks in the books. We'll recap that, what teams we got that's hot, how they're looking, things like that. And then NFL, look at the draft. Huge trade made by the Rams, what we think about that. And then close it out, of course, with the UCM Athletics to top it off. So starting with the NBA, Kobe Bryant came out and had an absolutely brilliant night, his final game of his career. Dropped 60 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, completely wowed everybody, made people that's not Kobe lovers gain his respect for sure. What did you think about your idol going out, having an incredible night like that?
Well, I mean, it went from being a sad day, an emotional day for everybody that's grown up being a Kobe Bryant fan. I mean, for us in this age from 18 to 21, he's grown to be the Michael Jordan of our era. I mean, he played the same position. Their game resembles so much. They were both winners. Michael won 6, Kobe won 5. Had a chance to win 6 a couple of times, went to the finals and didn't finish there. I mean, did it with Shaq, did it with Pau Gasol, did it by winning the NBA MVP, did it by scoring 81 points. So, I mean, it was an emotional night that turned into being an exciting and a go-away party. Kobe turned that into a go-away party, a festivity that, I mean, concluded his career the only way that you would imagine Kobe Bryant going down, shooting the ball over 50% of the time that he touches it. So almost every time he touches the ball, he put a shot up. I mean, 60 points, a game-winning bucket. You couldn't draw it any better. It's like the Derek Jeter of basketball.
Yeah, I grew up as a huge LeBron fan, but I remember when I was younger and just got into basketball, Kobe was the guy. That's when they were playing the Kings and kind of had that rivalry going in the West. And I was a big fan of Kobe. And then as soon as LeBron came into the league, that's when I jumped on that bandwagon, been a LeBron fan ever since. But Kobe definitely, as I said, made non-Kobe lovers respect what he's brought to the game, everything he's put in it. And that showed in the last game he played, he literally left everything out on the floor. I think he played 45 minutes or something ridiculous. So he definitely left it all on the floor. And I'm sure he's at peace with his decision to retire simply because he gave everything he could to the game. One of the toughest players to ever do it, and it showed the way he went out. And this is kind of the funniest thing that happened to me. We saw him drop 60 points, shoot 50 times, but his last play was actually an assist. And that was just something that was really funny to me. He got a rebound, launched it down the floor to Jordan Clarkson, and he got his final play to actually be an assist. So that was crazy.
Pretty ironic. In my opinion, Kobe's best play in his career, I mean, his best game, you can probably put the 81-point game or the game that he had 63 points, and he was single-handedly beating the Dallas Mavericks. But in my opinion, Kobe's best play ever was his alley-oop to Shaq in the Western Conference Finals against the Blazers. It was a play that turned that whole series around. It's the play that when I think about the Lakers and their dominance, that's what I think of. And, I mean, that's exactly what Kobe Bryant did to finish his career. He had an assist to Jordan Clarkson. How ironic is that? But moving on, I mean, so the Kobe drama's over. The Warriors were playing for their 73 victory. So what? We were all watching Kobe. Nobody was watching that game. We knew they were going to blow out a hurt Grizzlies team, a team that without Marcus Gasol and Mike Conley, I mean, they just looked bad. They looked like they had no chance against the Warriors. So congratulations to the Warriors. They pick up their 73rd victory. But now, I mean, it's playoff time, so everybody has a 0-0 record. But I don't know about you, Tremayne, but I'm really disappointed how this started. All these blowouts, like, make this again a 3-game series if this is going to be the case or what it is. I mean, I don't enjoy it. It's not fun to watch for fans. I mean, obviously, unless you're in the building watching the game right there in the Coliseum or whatever. It's not fun, man. When you're watching a team beating somebody by 30, when Curry only plays 19 minutes, that's not fun. That's not what you pay to see, you know?
Yeah, we saw all the higher seed teams win but one, and it was the very first game when excuse me, when Indiana went out and beat Toronto on day one. That was the very first game that happened. We saw a huge game from Paul George coming out, set the tone, 27 in the second half, and they was able to steal game one in Toronto. But everybody else, Golden State won at home, Atlanta won at home, OKC destroyed Dallas at home. Cleveland had a tough game against Detroit but won at home. Miami destroyed Charlotte. San Antonio destroyed Memphis. Then the Clippers and Portland game, it was a little closer than it ended up being the final score, but home team won that again. So, as you said, I was kind of disappointed too. I think the series is a shape up a little better than day one, but the better teams came out and dominated for sure on day one and day two. I just want to go ahead and pick who I think will win, I guess, each game of the series, each game in the first round. I think Golden State will defeat Houston. I said Boston will win that series, but Atlanta came out and proved they can play with Boston. And Isaiah Thomas came out, had a slow first half, kind of picked it up the second half. But Marcus Smart had played a huge game. So that's a good sign for Boston, as he was a number 6 overall pick and hasn't really lived up to that. But he showed in his second time in the playoffs. So great job by him. But I think Boston will pull out that series. Toronto and Indiana, I think Indiana will actually win that series. Paul George has stepped up, came back from the injury last season and played huge. OKC is going to dominate Dallas. I think their legs are just a little old, and they just can't run with Westbrook and Kevin Durant's playing lights out. Serge Ibaka's improved three-point shooting is just a huge. He can stretch the floor better. OKC is a solid team. I actually expect to see them in the finals, but we can talk about that later. Cleveland, I think they'll end up taking care of business, beating Detroit. Had a great job by their big three, dropping 80 points last night. LeBron, 11 assists. Very good game. Miami looks good. The Joe Johnson pickup, we talked about that. Where will he land? He's a great piece and fit in Miami, and it's showing with the success they've had. San Antonio is going to roll through Memphis. And then the Clippers in Portland, that's going to, I think, shape up to be the best series. And I think Portland is actually going to pull it out in 7 and win at Staples Center and beat the Clippers. So,
yeah, I mean, most of those series, I think they're already determined. You can already tell, like, what's going to happen. Like, that Golden State series, like, that's just might as well stop playing that series, in my opinion. Like, Curry's questionable for Game 2. Who cares? They don't need him to win. They're going to destroy him anyways. But the Rockets are a mess. Harden can't play defense. Dwight Howard's soft. That team's just bad overall. In that series, I'm going to go with Golden State. Next series, Clippers in Portland. I think it's going to be the best series of the first round. I agree with you. I think that's a great series. I think what Lillard's done with that team in Rip City has gone unseen. He didn't even get an All-Star. He didn't get an All-Star appearance this year. And, I mean, he's a guy, in my opinion, he's top 5, top 10 for the MVP candidate this year. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I mean, Curry probably has that on lock too. But, I mean, he put a great season, and he did a lot with a little. Like, they lost 4 of their 5 starters. They lost Wesley Matthews, they lost Batum, they lost Aldridge, and Robin Lopez. So he's doing it with a brand-new crew. And besides that week that he was hurt and we saw McCollum and Krabby step up, he's done it all for that team. OKC and Dallas, I wish the series was closer. I really enjoyed Dallas and how they play the game. I love what Rick Carlisle does for the Mavericks and the owner Cuban. But, I mean, OKC's just too young, too athletic for this Dallas team. I mean, Dallas got off to a terrible start. They were 3 of 18 to start the game, and all 3 baskets were made by Dirk Nowitzki. So that's how the game started for them. It was a brutal start. San Antonio and Memphis. San Antonio's in the next round. Don't need to talk about that. Kawhi Leonard just won back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year today. He got announced as the only small forward in NBA history to win back-to-back. So that just preaches to how good that team is because, I mean, he's their leader. He's probably not their vocal leader, but he's their leader in play. And, I mean, he goes out there and puts up those defensive numbers back-to-back year. That's pretty impressive. Cleveland and Detroit, I was really happy with that Detroit came out and didn't play like an 8 seed. That's somebody that had a chip on their shoulder and wanted to beat this Cleveland team. But, I mean, Cleveland was just too much down the stretch for them. to handle. I have Cleveland winning that one. Atlanta and Boston, I have Atlanta winning. I think they're the Spurs of the East. They really surprised me how they came out and won that first game. They really played team basketball. I mean, Schroeder coming off the bench, he's a huge spark plug. Teague, Millsap have all stepped up their game throughout the past 2 years. And then Kent Bazemore is a key to that team. When he plays good, that team plays good. I like the energy he brings to the court every day. He's a really good ball player, looks to find a home in Atlanta. And, I mean, if Korver can somehow figure it out and get streaky, that's a dangerous team in the East. Then Miami looked like a very good team. It might look like the best team in the East. If you just go off that one game, they might have looked the best out of anybody. I mean, their backup unit's pretty good. When you bring Winslow, Stoudemire off the bench, like those are guys that at some point in their career either had or will have a big role in a team. And, I mean, they're stepping up, accepting their role and doing it. I still think Toronto's going to beat Indiana. DeRozan and Laurie had their worst game that I've ever seen them play together. Like, they shot under 36%. It was the worst that I've seen them play ever. I mean, Valanciunas had 15 rebounds in the first half, only ended up with 19 and was 4 for 14 at one point shooting. So their starting five that they rely heavily on struggled badly. So I think Toronto's going to pull that series out. But there's more actions today, more action this week. We'll see. I mean, hopefully the games get closer and get a little bit more entertaining to watch so you don't have to change the channel after the first quarter like you had to do in that OKC-Dallas game, Golden State and Houston game, or San Antonio and Memphis. So it'll be interesting to see how the NBA shapes up now that we're headed into that exciting part, the Western Conference Finals, semifinals, and, of course, the NBA Finals. That starts Thursday, June the 2nd. So stay tuned up. We'll keep you guys updated what we think about the teams. We'll let you guys know what's going on in the NBA and who we got winning, when and where. It's time to talk a little bit about MLB and NFL. We already touched NBA, which made our picks, so we're going to jump ahead and go to the MLB. First 2 weeks are in the books. We didn't get to talk last week, obviously, with not having the show. What do you got, Tremayne? Let's jump right at it. Best team so far.
Best team so far, I mean, I'm just going to go kind of the obvious. You look at the record, it's got to be the Nationals. Last year they came out, they were the favorite, 1-2 odds to win the World Series. Picked up Max Scherzer, got him last year, had the dominant pitching staff, and just did not live up to the expectations at all. We saw Bryce Harper came out and had an amazing season, MVP. But outside of that, the pitching staff didn't live up to it. They were terrible fielding, and they didn't live up. This year they've came out a little bit more under the radar. We know the Cubs are the favorite, and they're playing like the best team. They're 9-2. The Cubs are 9-3 right now. I would say they're the second best team. I haven't seen power rankings so far today, but personally, I would say the Nationals is the best team, and it's the way Max Scherzer's pitching. And then if you look at Bryce Harper, he's having an amazing season. He had 4 straight games with home runs right now, the longest streak he's had in his season with anything like that, in his career so far with anything like that. So he's definitely the leader of that team in the clubhouse and on the field, and it's showing with the youth that he has and the way he's playing right now for the Nationals. I think they're definitely the best team in baseball so far. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously got to look at the standings and see where they're at. It's really easy to determine by just looking at the win and losses, especially this early in the season. I mean, that's just how the game of baseball is. You know, you win, you lose. That's how you know you're the best or you're not the best. But I mean, I agree with you. Nationals. I'm going to point out some key there, that the signing of Daniel Murphy, that everybody was like, I don't know about that signing. I was like, I mean, I think we're just a one-hit wonder, a guy that had an awesome postseason, but then ended up not having as good of a postseason just because of that error he made against the Royals and gave him a chance to get back in that game and whatnot. But, I mean, he's already hitting 437, obviously not going to keep that pace up. I don't think there's anybody that's going to hit 400 unless your name is Miguel Cabrera. But he's lived up to the hype so far. He's given them more than what they bought him for. They paid him extremely cheap contract in this era, of course. So now everybody's getting the big bucks. So he's done a great job. Also, I want to point out the lineup in Baltimore, man. They're 8-3. They're right now they're the best team in the East in the East and the American League. Buck Showalter's doing a great job with that team as always. The signing of Mark Trumbo, another key signing, just such as Daniel Murphy. He's come out, he's hit. He already has 4 home runs. He's putting RBIs. Of course, you have Machado in that top of that lineup. Adam Jones is a model of consistency, but I don't know if that pitching can hold it up. We'll see if that pitching, and Chris Tillman is going to have to really lead them. Him and Gallardo are going to really have to find a way to lead them and push them over that hump that they've been through and playing just over 500 ball or barely over 500 and not getting past the first round. So it'll be interesting to see how that East develops and how that the league develops. I mean, it's really early, so we'll see. A bunch of teams are really close. Besides the Twins, really, nobody has really started like absolutely awful. I mean, you look at the Braves, yeah, they're 3-9, but it's a team that'll get better. I think they're gonna continue to get better, and that NL East, in my opinion, is not dangerous at all. I think besides the Mets starting rotation, I don't see anything that intimidates me. So I think it's still a free for all in that East for who can win it. So we obviously point out the obvious and give the best team. Obviously, the best team are the teams with the best record. So now, not necessarily the best record, but what's a scary team to watch here in the future from what you've seen just in this first 2 weeks?
I mean, they didn't come in the season as a favorite. I still thought they would be good. It's got to be, in my opinion, the Pirates. They came out, they won the first 3 against the Cardinals at home, came out playing right. They've kind of fell off since, but they had a little bit of minor injury. Francisco Liriano's been banged up, missed the start day-to-day right now. But the way they're playing, just period, we've seen McCutchen start to get it going later this week. Starling Marte is just battling an injury, but they came out playing good. And one key thing that surprised me, they lost Pedro Alvarez. He's actually on the bench of Baltimore, and he was a key piece to their success last year. Now he's not even playing in Baltimore. But they have they picked up John Jaso to play first base. He's been huge for them starting there. And then the 3-hole hitter's been David Freese, and he's actually come out and had a solid season so far, which has definitely surprised me because in St. Louis he was nothing but, him single-handedly winning the World Series in Game 6 and 7. But he's come out and had so far a good career with the Pirates starting off this season. I think the Pirates are a sleeper team to watch. All eyes are on the Cubs in the NL Central. Cardinals kind of going under the radar too. But the Pirates are just going to be right there battling to the end, and it's definitely kind of the scariest team to watch, in my opinion, just by the firepower they have in the bats. Then they got the pitching staff and stuff as well to go along with it. So,
I like that pick. I mean, I really enjoy the Pirates and what they do. I think that outfield, when healthy, is really dangerous. I mean, it's a athletic outfield that really can really play. In my opinion, a scary team to watch. And I mean, although their record's pretty good, still at 8-5, they're sitting at first place right now. Is the Dodgers. Why do I say the Dodgers? Is because coming into the season, everybody's had so much hype on Diamondbacks to the Giants. Obviously, even year, the Giants, they win every year, blah, 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 blah. But they also signed Samardzija, who's been pretty decent for them so far. They got Cueto. They got a really good start at Cueto. They still returned Bumgarner. A healthy Hunter Pence can change the lineup. The middle infield could be the best middle infield in the league if they keep producing the way they are. Panic hit 312 last year. Crawford hit over 20 home runs, so they're really young and talented. I personally bought into what the Diamondbacks were doing. Obviously, the injury to A.J. Pollock will hurt him, and in the long run, if he stays hurt, somebody's going to have to step up in that spot. Yasmani Tomas hasn't given them anything at all, and last year they really weren't going to count on him after he started in the minors. But the Dodgers just go out there, man. The new change in head coach, I mean, Don Mattingly, one of my favorite guys ever. I love Don Mattingly. I hope he ends up with the Yankee uniform as he should at some point. But Dave Robertson is just so loose and so free and letting them play. And, he adjusted Jock Peterson's approach at the plate and stuff like that. You saw him hit a clutch home run yesterday. Maeda has been great so far. That bullpen, I mean, Kenley Jansen is pretty much automatic down there. You still have the best pitcher in the game in Kershaw. And, I mean, Puig looks better this year. He's looking like he's going to produce for that team. They have one of the best, if not the best, backup in the whole league. Kike Hernandez, who's hitting .365 against lefties, and he's leading the league in the past 2 years in hitting against lefties off the bench. So they have a bunch of pieces out there that they can mix around and toy with. So I really enjoy it. They also have Trace Thompson down there, the young surprise. And, I mean, it's a good team to watch down there in Hollywood. But now that I say young surprise, who do you got? Who's surprised you so far?
I mean, the obvious pick would be Trevor Story of the Colorado Rockies. Came out the first week of the season, 7 home runs in 1 week. But ever since then, he's definitely cooled off as I thought he would. I'm a big fantasy player, and my roommate has him, was going crazy, happy he drafted him, all this. And I'm like, it's not going to last. I told him I think he'll finish with maybe 20 home runs. Because if you look at his first 8 hits of his career, first 9 hits of his career, 7 of them were home runs. And then it was a single for RBI, and then I believe a double. The rest, most of his outs were strikeouts. It wasn't even like putting the ball in play. So he's got to definitely work on his contact hitting. I'm assuming he's just swinging for power up there, just trying to blast him out the park, and that's not how you get it done in MLB. But the rookie will learn. He's come out, had a solid season. But I think it's important to watch. It's easy to do. Let me look at my Cardinals. If you look at Jeremy Hazelbaker, the way he's came out and played, and then their shortstop in Diaz, they both have came out and been huge for the Cardinals. Completely surprised out of nowhere. We talked about how young their outfield was with Randall Grichuk and Tommy Pham, who's hurt, who opened up the door for Hazelbaker. And those guys come out of nowhere, and they're hitting has the two highest averages on the Cardinals, 3 home runs apiece so far to start off in these first 2 weeks, and they've been huge. And we've seen the Cardinals struggling that first opening series against the Pirates, and they came out, and they were the two that's been the difference. We saw 3 pinch hit home runs for the Cardinals. Both of them had one in that game. So they've been a difference maker in my team, and that's pretty much the surprises I've seen so far going in. And I think the Cardinals has a huge series coming up. They play the Cubs starting today, so all eyes will be on that Monday Night Baseball. If the rain holds off in St. Louis, this will be a huge series because they actually don't face Arrieta in this series. They could get Hamill, Kendricks and Lackey. And Lackey will be tonight. So this will be a huge series to see kind of where the NL Central shapes up, what that series is going to look like, what that division is going to look like after this week. But Hazelbaker is definitely my sleeper surprise talent so far.
Yeah, we've always seen Hazelbaker's story. I mean, Vincent Velasquez, Aaron Nola, guys that have came in and stepped up immediately. I mean, in my opinion, the youngest surprise so far. And I don't see it much as a surprise because I saw what he can do in Vincent Velasquez. I followed his career through the minor leagues. I saw him in the big leagues show powerful stuff up in there. It was comparable to Lance McCullers in Houston, and then he got that trade obviously for Ken Giles, and he went to Philly. And I mean, you can't go by a guy that strikes out 16 guys in a game. That's pretty impressive. And I mean, Vincent Velasquez young. If he can keep his walks down, he's going to be really good for that Phillies team. They might have picked up an ace right there. You combine that with Nola, maybe Mark Capella at some point. That's a pretty good rotation you got. Kenta Maeda's not young, but he's a rookie, so he's putting up good numbers. .47 ERA. He's done it well both of his starts. Joe Ross has shown that he can really throw the ball for the Nationals and being a key part. Now that they lose Zimmerman, somebody's going to have to step up, and it's looking like Joe Ross, after finishing strong last year, picked up right where he left off. So he's going to go right back at it for the Nationals, and Coach Dusty Baker, who's trying to change the tradition in that ball club, having them have more fun, I think, doing what they do. And I think Bryce Harper's obviously being a key piece of that. So the MLB's it's really young still. We've seen some pretty impressive stuff. I mean, we have a couple guys over 25 strikeouts already with just 2 starts under their belt. We have a couple guys that already have 6, 7 home runs, Harper and Aristari. So it's going to shape up to be a really fun, really exciting year like always it is for baseball. I mean, it's a nation's pastime, and it's always fun. I mean, we'll touch up real quick now on NFLs for those of you Rams fans or ex-Rams fans, because now they're gone forever. But they traded the Titans for that number 1 pick, and in my opinion, Tremayne, I mean, you can finish it off and take us to a break right after this, but I think they traded, and they're going to go get Goff at first pick. I think they're going to go get him from Cal.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing, they're going to go get a quarterback. It's 2 solid quarterbacks, and neither one has really separated themselves from the other, in my opinion, in Carson Wentz or Goff. I don't know who they're going to get. I mean, they haven't disclosed who they're going to pick. They've met with both of them. I'm sure they're going to work out both and see. But I think either or. We haven't seen enough for either. Cal plays on the West Coast, so we don't get to check them out. They got all these late games, and then they weren't that good of a team. And that's one worry I have with Jared Goff is he even a winner? He didn't have a winning record as a starting quarterback at Cal, but he was a great passer, so that's kind of something that separated him. And then you look at North Dakota State and Carson Wentz. He played in D1 AA, so he didn't play on that Division I level, top tier. So will he be able to translate to the NFL for that reason? But he's a lot more versatile, athletic. So, I mean, if I had to choose which one I would pick, I would go with Carson Wentz just because he's a proven winner. And also his athleticism. Say, for instance, he doesn't develop as a passer. He actually has the capability to run and be a little more athletic with his legs. But time will tell who won this trade. The Rams gave up an awful lot and 6 total draft picks. So we'll see what happened. And some of those picks were actually from the Philadelphia Eagles when they traded Sam Bradford, 2 of those picks. So it wasn't all the Rams' actual picks. But some of those picks, I mean, it's still draft picks that they would have had in the future. So time will tell, see who they get. But I think we'll see what happens with that trade. It's time for UCM Athletics. Going to get the ball rolling, had the week off, so it's been a lot that's went on. Track and field's in full swing. Baseball's playing great. Softball struggling a little bit, and then bowling was at the NCAA championship, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Kick it off with track and field. They went into the weekend. The Jennies ranked 7th in the national rankings and the men 12th, so they're kind of sitting outside looking in, not too high ranked, but still getting the job done. And both teams are ranked number 1 in MIAA, so that's a great look by the coaching staff there, getting their teams prepared. The Mules and Jennies were at the Pitt State Gorilla Classic this weekend. They had 10 first-place winners. The biggest winner was Chris Swearigan. He's a javelin thrower for the men's side. He broke his own school record throwing at 216 feet. So that was a ridiculous launch for him. Broke his own record, so he's trying to build on that. He's obviously a national qualifier with that. He's top 5 in the nation with his throws. That was kind of the big highlight of the weekend. Some other great performances by the 4x4 team and the women and men's. So great job by track and field, still getting the job done. They'll be back in action this weekend as well, so keep a lookout for them. The UCM Bowling Jennies, they competed in the NCAA championship Friday, April 15th. They were defeated in the first round by the defending champion Nebraska Cornhuskers, and then they lost their first round elimination match to Arkansas State, who defeated them, and which actually that game ended their season, that match. So they ended the season kind of disappointed, not what their coaching staff wanted, but that was their 13th straight appearance in the NCAA bowling championships, and they're one of only 2 teams to accomplish that, and the other is Nebraska Cornhuskers. So that's a great job by this Jennings team. They've been great all season, and it showed with the way they came out and performed. I'm sure they'll be right back in the championships next year. Hopefully they can get a few better recruits in and take it to the next step and actually compete a little better in that and see how they're doing. Looking at Jenny softball, as I said, they're struggling. They've lost 8 of their last 15. Just kind of been an up and down year for them, really rocky. We both got a chance to call a game a few weeks ago, and we just seen just how they're not so consistent. They start off fast and then just wasn't able to score after the first inning. In 2 straight games, jumped out to 5-0 leads and wasn't able to hold it. And that's kind of just been the way their seasons went. They just split in a 1-1 series this past weekend with William Jewell. Just been really up and down. You got anything to say about the Jennies? They're sitting in 6th place, 23-23 overall. What's going on with the Jennies?
Well, yeah, we saw them struggle, give a game away. Actually, that game against Pitt State. Pitt State came in being 16 in a row, winning 16-0 in MIAA play, winning 10 in a row in their overall games. And we had them. We had them in the ropes. We had them until the last out of the inning, and then we saw a home run in the last inning. And after that, it was just all guerrillas. But we found a way to split. So I think that just speaks to how good this team can be, and at some point, in my opinion, will be. By Coach Anderson does a great job preparing her squad. I mean, headed into this final run right here. Obviously, we have the big game tomorrow. It's a game for gold, so we're gonna be selling T-shirts, $15 T-shirts, and all money will proceed to donations to the Rally for Ryan crew and over there in Mizzou. Obviously, Brad Luce's daughter, who's battling cancer, the young 4-year-old, I believe, is battling cancer. So it's gonna be a neat experience. I mean, it's not a better day than it's gonna be packed tomorrow. Hopefully, there's good weather. There was a lot of rain today, so they're gonna have to really work on the field to make it right. But what a better day, to turn the season around. They're right now playing at 11-11 in conference, 23-23, so 500 ball all around. So it's not terrible, but they would love to be over that 500 hump, especially playing their best softball towards the end of the season.
That's definitely true. Softball, they'll get it back on track. Like I said, they're struggling, but we've seen the bright sides of them this season, so it'll be interesting to see how they finish up. And hopefully tomorrow will be the great chance to start out rallying for gold. So with that event, hopefully that can motivate the Jennies to come out and have a huge game. Looking at baseball, they've been absolutely remarkable all season, got off to the slow start. Ever since then, they've been on fire. They've won 12 of their last 15. They're 25-10 overall, 23-5 in conference. Then this past weekend, they won 2 of 3 against Missouri Southern. Last weekend before that, 2 of 3 at home against Emporia State. So they playing the top-tier teams here in the MIAA, and they performed here in front of the home crowd here at UCM. They won 2 of 3, and that's all you want to do is win series, and you'll come out with a winning record. Game 3, we saw a remarkable end to it with the walk-off yesterday by Bennett Oliver. Because what have you seen from the Mules as they're finally playing that mule ball as you talked about so much early in the season?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously got off to that slow start at 1-6, but I mean, it's just a change of culture. There's just something special, something different about this team being around them in the locker room and stuff. The way they carry themselves, it's like Grant Gavin said it best yesterday. That yesterday's win was a testament to what this team does and believe. I mean, there's no die, there's no quit anytime these fall down. All those games against Emporia, we were down at some point. All these games against Southern this weekend, we were either down or tied at some point, and like the game looked like, if you were looking from the outside, like it was going to go straight the other way. It was going to go straight to the Lions, straight to the Hornets. But our offense just does a great job of competing, and then our pitching staff, it's just the best pitching staff in the MIAA, plain and simple. Every team that comes in here hitting 340, 350, 360, and leaves hitting like 320. So we do a great job of just shoving it in the zone, competing. Coach Tamversky does a great job of preparing our pitchers, and I mean, our pitching staff has to find a way to feed off our hitting and our hitting off our pitching staff, and they all together, I mean, it's just a great group of guys we have right now. They've put a lot of hard work into it, a lot of heart, and I mean, these wins just speak to what we are as a team. I'm just really proud of what our guys have accomplished so far. I mean, there's still a long ways to go to be what we want to be, and that's obviously holding the trophy and carrying North Carolina as national champions, but we're headed in the right track.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The Mules will be back in action tomorrow night. They're going to continue this midweek series, Game 2. They won last week 5-1 here at home, so they'll be traveling to SBU.
The game got changed. It'll be here now.
Excuse me, it'll actually be here with the weather changes. So it's actually changed to here, SBU. So come check out the Mules then tomorrow. It'll be a big game. Try and win that series and then go for the sweep at the beginning of next week. So Mules are definitely playing great baseball. They're going to try to keep it up. They won 2 straight. Let's try and make it 3 straight. Any final thoughts, Ricky, as we wrap it up?
No, it's just exciting times for Mules baseball. Jenny's softball obviously headed into the final. Mules and Jenny's track and field looks to be, I mean, last year obviously they gave us a national championship. I mean, we can only hold them to that standard and hope they get us another one. But I'm sure they'll go out there. Coach Kip Cameron does a great job with Akil Gibson and the rest of his coaching staff of preparing these guys and girls to perform in the high level. We went out there. They're going to head to Missouri S&T this weekend. Kansas Relays and Invitational down there this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform. Mules baseball heads, and I mean, this is the gauntlet now where we face Emporia, Missouri Southern. Now we got Northeast, who's playing better baseball, and then the red hot, sizzling hot 7 games in a row, Missouri Western. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, and besides that, I just hope NBA playoffs pick up. MLB is already picking up. It's already fun to watch. I just need a little time now to watch a little bit more.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, I'm on the same bandwagon as you. It's a big stretch for track and field. They got a big meet coming up this weekend, as you mentioned. It's the Kansas Relays, and it's hosted by Missouri Southern. But I'm pretty sure some bigger schools will be there. So that'll be a chance for some of the Mules and Jennies to kind of boost their times going off against these bigger schools. So that'll be an exciting meet for them. Then just the NBA playoffs, MLB picking up. It's an exciting time. I'm definitely looking forward to this series with the Cubs and Cardinals. It's been the Cubs have gotten all the talk. They played pretty great so far, but they come into St. Louis. John Lackey will be on the mound tonight. Hopefully the rain holds off. It's an exciting game, exciting series. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And that's going to pretty much wrap up Campus Chatter for today. I'm Tremayne Fisher.
I'm Rickey Rivera, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Sign off.
You're listening to Campus Chatter, coming to you from the campus of the University of Central Missouri, only on the UCM Media Network.